God,
Doesn't
wow.
it sound good?
It's great. We got birds.
I know.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Birds and beer. Hello.
It's interesting because you're short. Like, you're very, very short.
Thanks, dude.
This old man was pointing at the moon. This old man was...
All right, do it again. Ah!
Hey!
That's good.
All right, cool. Do we have a name for this podcast?
No.
We'll figure it out. Well, hey! Look at us!
Fuck it.
Look at us! Monday afternoon.
Monday
It's not even 5
afternoon.
o'clock yet.
And you do the tap?
I tap. So you know why I do the tap?
Why do you do it?
Because when I was younger and I was making friends in college, I had friends that would tap. And they were like ritualistic drinkers. So they were like a shot or a drink they got at the bar or whatever. And part of me was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, we have rituals and cultural customs in the States. Like,
Yeah.
we don't really have those unless you take them from people
Yes,
in Europe or
exactly.
Asia or whatever. And so it's like, oh, what a cool thing. And then I found out, like, it might be Germanic. It might be, I don't know. But I need a little closer. I mean, I can do that.
Just,
I can just, like, a little less
yeah, just.
distance.
Because
Yeah. I mean, also, I could do the crazy thing where I just do this.
Because usually I
I mean, this is, I might just do this.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do.
That's not a bad idea.
What are they doing over
I
there?
learned it from a Czech friend.
Check. Okay, what did they give you a reason for it? No, they said, oh, we just tap.
God, but he would say something, and I don't remember what it was.
So, the one that I know of is that apparently when, monarchies were still a big thing in a lot of Europe, the king would frequently die in battle, and so his son would take over. Son was typically a kid, and there was always a tradition to cheers your steins in the royal courtroom, whatever. And so they would tap, essentially to give the king's stein, the kid, a moment to rest his stein after
it was so
cheersing
heavy?
because it was so heavy.
Shut up!
I don't know if that's real or not. Because, the problem with the
I
internet
like that.
nowadays is,
I like that.
you have podcasts like this that are really well produced, and you have other YouTubers, and they come out and they're just like, yeah, you heard of this thing? And it becomes this viral, it's an Instagram reel or a TikTok that's like a 40-second TikTok, and it's viral for a couple days, and people are like, oh my God, I figured out how this thing works. And then you find out 3 weeks later, remember that TikTok? Yeah, it wasn't actually accurate. It's this thing.
Yeah.
So I don't believe anything anymore.
I have to say, I was listening to Smartless the other day, and I think it was Jason Bateman is the health nut.
Right.
He and I think Sean, it was him and somebody else. They both were like, "Oh, cholesterol in eggs is not bad for you," and I was like, "I don't know that that's true."
I think cholesterol's bad for you across the board.
That's what I thought, but they were like, "No, it's." And I ate an egg today, and I looked at the cholesterol in it. It's 185 milligrams.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's like over, I think, a day's worth of what you're
Sure,
supposed to
but I think that the thing to consider there is are there certain micronutrients, whatever, that help break down cholesterol?
That's
Like
true.
if you have a good metabolism or you drink a lot of water,
That's
I don't
true.
know. I am not a dietitian. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wonder about that because I love eggs. It's
I
a
do
great
too.
protein in the morning.
Good for your brain.
Great for your brain. I love eating little chicken fetuses. Love it.
Me too.
Do you?
They're so cute.
They're very cute, and then they aren't cute because they're dead. And they've been
They're sticky.
and they're gross. I use weird as making egg white cocktails.
Ew! Oh no.
Oh, it's so good though.
No.
Why
That
do you-
shit's raw. I'm not eating.
But it's not. But it's never the egg whites that have salmonella.
I
in
don't
it.
care. They touched the yolk. I'm not drinking any raw egg.
All right.
I heard they're great. I did take a bartending class one time.
Yeah. Did they have you
I don't
shake an egg
remember
white?
it.
Did they have you shake an egg white in it?
I don't think so. I don't
Oh.
know. I was really drunk for the test.
Did you show up drunk before you started
No,
bartending?
we had to. We all the whole class. Our test was there was a whole night, and every hour you had to switch up, and the next people had to bartend. And I was well into the night. I don't remember.
Who
what
were
I
you
did.
tending for? Who were you
My
serving?
classmates.
Oh, see who was good at bartending.
Yeah. Well, it was our test.
That
You
was
had
the
to
test.
if somebody came up and said make this, you had to make it, and then they could tell you if it was good or bad or
How
whatever.
many different drinks did you just memorize?
I honestly don't remember. This was one of my backup careers in 1995.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of. I was a baker.
Should I tell you how old I was in 95?
No,
Okay, cool.
no,
Okay.
no, no.
Okay. That's fine. I'm not going to.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
I'm okay with
It's
it.
amazing to me. It's amazing that you're like you comments about like how you're old, and I can't tell.
Well, thank you.
I genuinely can't tell.
Thank you.
You have a lot of energy to you.
Yeah.
Maybe not a good thing.
It's
I don't know.
No, it's.
I think it's a good thing.
I have it a lot of times, but then I crash. Like when I go
So
home.
like everybody else.
Well, yeah. I'm more introverted than I think people think. I think people think I'm really extroverted because I have big pupils.
I don't know. I think you're extroverted.
People
Yeah,
will
keep
just,
doing that, and you'll just scare everybody, and they'll just definitely leave you alone.
people just look at me and then they start telling me their life story, and I'm like,
Please stop that.
why are you talking to me?
Please talk to me. I don't know. Well, I think it's so. I actually have an interesting topic, which is that
How old were you in '95?
2, 3, 2. I was
You
2.
don't know how
I was
old
2.
you were in
I
1990?
was born in 93. I was born in 93.
What month?
August.
Wait, you're a Leo?
Yeah.
Mm.
Are you big on astrology?
No, but I'd just like to say it. I'm a Pisces, so I blame everything on Pisces. All my weird shit.
See, I actually kind of respect that, where it's like there's no real constructive nature to your relationship with astrology, except for
An
if I do
excuse.
something bad, it's because I have no control over it. It's not my problem. I respect that.
Absolutely.
That's super healthy.
Because Pisces are a mix of everything. So of course I'm gonna be fucking crazy.
But you could make the argument that like everybody's a mix of everything.
No, not if you're born in August. You're not a Pisces.
Well, but I think if you look also at
You're
where
a
the
Leo.
stars actually resided in the sky in 2010 or whatever,
maybe.
different from how they were thousands of years ago when they write all the astrology signs down.
Yeah, but it's all about the day and time you were born.
Sure. I'm just saying that the stars have shifted. Like our
Yeah.
relationship to the stars have all shifted. So
Well,
now
I don't care what you say because
that's fine.
I'm a Pisces and that's why I'm.
And that's
fucked up.
why you're that's why you have certain bad traits, you have no control over it. Well, and I do believe, as a tangent before I get to my earlier thought, as a tangent, I do think that there's an element of your like relational aspects of your personality when you relate them to things you read about yourself in your astrology, whatever, it's kind of interesting to go, is that accurate or is
Yeah.
that not accurate? And I don't mind that practice of finding the contrasts.
Mm-hmm.
I do really hate people, profoundly hate people, that actually blame everything on their
Oh yeah.
astrology sign.
Yeah.
It's just,
Well, then you hate me because of it.
you don't actually. I know you don't.
I don't. I wouldn't be in therapy if I did.
No, you would
'Cause I
just
would
you would
just
just
be
go,
like-
I'm fine.
I'm Pisces.
I'm perfect. I don't
I'm
need therapy.
perfectly crazy. You were born in '93. I was in film school in '93
Okay.
at UNC.
Oh.
About to graduate.
Okay. So what, like a 20-year gap ish? Not bad.
Yeah. What was I doing at 29? Oh, that I started playing hockey at 29.
Oh, sick. What prompted that?
I was bored.
Is that why you do a lot of things? You're like, bored. I'm bored. I want to do something different.
Yeah, to some degree. Well, so I lived in Mebane.
Yeah,
Have you been to Mebane?
I know.
I lived there in 2001ish, and like there was nothing to do, nothing to do. So I started going to Hillsborough, to the ice rink, and just skating
Sure.
in circles around and around and around.
Yeah, why not?
And then I met some women. They're like, "Come play hockey." So I did.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I never
So,
skated before.
what does hockey do for you?
That's funny that you asked that, because like, it actually, in some ways, keeps me in a lot of ways keeps me sane. It is so. Two things that it does. I did ballet when I was young, and I had a ballet teacher tell me I was fat when I was 16. Yeah.
Were you?
Well, I'm short and stocky. I'm like a gymnast type body.
Yeah.
Never gonna have the long skinny legs. Never. Just not gonna happen. So that like probably within a week I was anorexic.
Right.
So like
The one comment.
exactly.
You're like, I'm not eating anymore.
Yep.
Yep.
And she did it to many people it was a company. And so like I struggled with that all throughout high school, college, whatever. And then when I started playing hockey, I was like, oh, I have to have energy or I can't play. Plus, you're wearing all this gear. Nobody knows what the hell you look like anyway.
Right.
So I didn't have to worry about what I look like. And then also, I will go play when I want to like get out of a funk or just distract myself.
Sure.
Because everything's gone from my brain. Because I have to focus on like skating and not.
So it's
getting smacked.
meditative.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yes.
That's cool. So it pulled you both out of a eating disorder problem, and then also gave you kind of almost a reprieve from negative, intrusive thoughts you didn't know to control at the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I feel like therapy's obviously taught you about the fact that you're going to have those thoughts perpetually for the rest of your life, and you just can't give them energy.
Exactly.
Right? That's a big piece of therapy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
I did it. It was last Tuesday, I think it was. I was stressed out about something. I had a meeting at 3:00 in the afternoon, and I was totally nervous. But I'm not going to sit here all day and just spiral. So I went and played hockey.
So you brought up introverts and extroverts earlier, which I don't actually believe in.
Really?
I don't believe in it. But, I mean, let me give you an example. And you claim to be an introvert. Do you...
I'm on the edge.
Sure. But let's just for sake of the argument, say you're an introvert.
Okay.
I would go ahead and make a few guesses about you. One, you don't really like being in large crowds. If you can help it.
No.
If you can help it.
Well, let's qualify that.
Sure. Please.
Being in a large crowd where I have to talk to people, or being in a large crowd where I can disappear. Because, like, I went to the Million Woman March by myself and loved it.
Yeah.
Because I was just lost in the giant crowd.
Okay, let me ask the next question without answering that question. When you are hanging out with people on a more intimate basis, whether it's one-on-one or like 1-on-2 or 3 in a small group, if they're all close friends that you're comfortable with, do you feel drained from that experience?
No.
Exactly.
No.
So
I get excited.
The notions of extrovertedness is that
Right.
you gain energy from being around people, and introverts gain energy from being alone.
Yeah.
And yet there's so many nuanced layers to what social, interactions are.
Yeah.
People look at me like, oh, you're absolutely an extrovert because you're so energetic, you can kind of hang. It's draining for me, like everybody else, I think, to deal with difficult clients or to work with people that aren't like on my same wavelength.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah.
But it's a muscle.
Right.
I've learned.
Right. Well, and that's funny that you say that because I kind of felt like I was an introvert until I had I took a job where I had to be extroverted. I was, kind of a producer role where I had to be on and talk to clients and, schmooze and whatever. And for those 5 years, it was draining, but I did it.
Right.
And it didn't kill me.
Right.
So, yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's just, I think it's too, kind of like astrology.
Yeah.
It's a little bit too difficult, I think, to just lump somebody into a category.
Yeah.
And say you're introverted, because obviously, I think all of us, to some degree, love being in a crowd and being able to just disappear.
Yeah.
And I think people that have this compulsion to be center of attention and to garner people's gaze, whatever.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
That's more of an egotistical issue than it is a comfort level thing.
I get
right?
that.
I get that there's aspects of being extroverted and introverted that are like characterized by personality traits, but I don't think it's a good signifier of your ability to just be comfortable in large groups with people you don't even know, versus just being alone all the time. Because we've proven that humans are social.
Sure.
And they need interaction.
That's true.
Quality interaction ends up being kind of the best part. And yeah, maybe you're a little bit more like comfortable being alone and reading a book and all that stuff. But you should always be able to do that, though.
Yes.
Everyone should.
But I also know at 51, it took me a long time to realize this, but when I do push myself out of my comfort zone and go do the thing whatever it is that I'm afraid to do, I almost always come out of it going, oh my God, that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That was so
Glad you did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Like this weekend when I went to the
Spontaneous just went to see.
spontaneous went to Virginia Beach to see Tony Hawk, and yeah, in my mind, well, I also I get this from my mom. Immediately when I say I'm going to do something, I catastrophize it. I do.
It's gonna go badly.
Oh my God. No, I start and it's like, that would be fun. And then all of a sudden it's like, you're going to die.
Yeah.
If you go do this, you're going to die. You're going to either crash your car, somebody's going to kidnap you and kill you, rip your eyes out.
Why do you do that?
My mom. I internalized it all from her.
Your mom did this.
She was super overprotective, very negative.
Okay.
Like literally would not let me do anything as a kid if she thought I was going to get hurt or whatever. Like all my friends were out, yeah, we were going swimming at the beach. She's like, no, you're going to die. So yeah, it's taken me a long time to get out of that and be like, so, you know, like I said, this weekend I did it kind of on purpose because I really
prove
just
to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, usually when I do it, I have a freaking blast.
So has therapy been one of those things that has helped you unlearn that? Or was it through experience once you left the house kind of thing?
Well, so I did things purposely.
Like spitefully?
When she was, yes. When she was around.
Okay.
So this is kind of when all my interest in filmmaking and stuff happened too. I grew up in Savannah, and they were always shooting films there.
Yep.
Always. And then I can't remember what year it was, but they opened the art college.
SCAD.
SCAD, yeah. So we had some friends who went to SCAD, and so they had access to equipment. And it was Christmas. It was around Christmas time. Me and 3 others, we made a video, just like totally having fun. The Connells, by the way, it was the Connells. I think they have a restraining order against me because like I freak out when I see them. But it was one of their songs.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll get into that. So we made this video, like, you know, put the music to it. It was Stone Cold Yesterday. It was like us just being stupid around Savannah. Okay. We went to the beach. We got arrested because we went up to we went to the roof of a hotel and it was trespassing. It was a long, funny story. But I sent it off to like a contest because it was. Have you ever heard of Blue Lagoon?
Actually, yes, I have.
With Brooke Shields.
Yes.
Well, they were doing Blue Lagoon 2.
Okay.
And they were giving away a trip to Fiji for 4. You had to make a video about what you and your friends do in the summer.
Okay.
And so this was December when we made it, but it was Savannah, so we all had shorts on. And I just sent it off on a whim. I was like, I'm going to do this. From Sassy Magazine. And we fucking won.
What?
We won a trip for the 4 of us to Fiji. So it was my 2 best friends and this other friend of ours that went to SCAD. And immediately my mom is like, you're not going. You can't. And I was like, yeah.
I am going.
I am going.
And you went, right?
I did go.
Good. How was it?
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it was a life-changing moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that like a catalyst for you kind of realizing, oh my God, my mom's fucking wrong.
Yeah,
I have to go live my own life.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But you still have the little bit, like the tick still comes back. Yeah.
The whole, I mean, because part of it too is like when we did that, my friends' parents were very normal. And we're like, yeah, y'all go. Oh, it's going to be a great experience and everything. So I had them. Liz, we're going to take care of you. It'll be fine. Promising my mom I would come back alive, that kind of thing. Yeah. So, but.
Wow.
Yeah. It was awesome.
It's interesting that you still, and I guess it's not surprising really, but it's interesting still that at your age and all the things that you've experienced and all the amazing things that you've worked on, you still struggle with imposter syndrome and confidence.
Massively.
That's
so. Do you not?
You know, I do, but I don't. It's kind of like
okay, but you're young too. Like
I am.
So tell me about your childhood a little bit. Like, how did you?
Oh man.
Were your parents totally like?
They were kind of helicoptery.
Were they?
But they were also the kind of people that, I don't know. I mean, I know them well enough now to understand that control freaky is kind of adjacent to their MO, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
where, they had me in so many things. They had me, I was a violin player, I was a classical
this
piano
was-
player.
When you were little and didn't have a choice, or like they were.
It was just
letting
kind
you
of
try
like
things?
they were trying things with me. I was
Yeah.
in a lot of sports, I was in a lot of music, and
Yeah.
I was in a lot of
Wow.
artsy things. They just had me doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they had anybody telling them to,
Yeah.
because my dad came from Iran, and a lot of his family he barely spoke to, less because they had a problem, but more because they just lived in Iran. There wasn't, phone calls
When
were
did he come here?
when he was like 15, like right before the Ayatollah took over, or before the whatever
Wow. Wow.
the coup.
With his family?
No, he came here by himself.
Shut up.
Yeah. So he came here when he was 15, and he did community college, and he bopped around, and
How?
just, I mean,
Like how?
survivors. I'll tell you what, he, badass.
Yeah.
And here's the thing though, is like it's more like the resilience of mind, right?
Yeah.
In my head,
Yeah.
he didn't cave in under the pressure. He was like, I have no other choice. I have to figure out what to do with my time. And homeboy spent like fucking 12, 13 years just fucking around and
Oh.
finally getting a bachelor's degree. Like it wasn't
But still, he didn't have anybody pushing him to. He was on his own.
He came over with like $3,000, and he met people along the way that supported him and helped him out.
God, that's
But
amazing.
But so he comes from a family. His family life was really traumatic and fucked up.
Yeah.
My mom came from a very poor family in Michigan, and she was the first person to go to college in their whole family.
Wow. Like
and-
Detroit area?
Bath, Lansing area,
Okay.
and they both met at MSU, and that's the long story short.
Aw.
But
But God, how cool is that he...
yeah.
I mean, holy shit. I
Yeah.
can't even imagine it.
Well, and I have to understand too, like the guy repressed so much of that awful
That
experience,
experience.
right? I mean, I don't know what your fucking teens, early 20s were like, but like for mine, they weren't exactly good.
Yeah, no.
I was okay. I had a job and I had a place to live and things were fine.
Yeah.
But like I wasn't mentally well.
No.
So like add to that him having to move to a new country and like learn English
I
and like
just can't.
we can't.
No.
And thank God we never had to deal with that.
Yeah,
Thank God I didn't have to deal with
seriously.
that, right? So like grateful where you
Well,
can be.
so where were his parents? What happened?
Well, they were back in Iran.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, he was just like, I'm out.
His parents basically kind of were like, you need to leave before shit
Okay.
gets really bad here.
Yeah.
And
Wow,
he
that's
did, he just
incredible.
pieced out. Yeah. And
So like,
I'm
how
not
hard
sure-
for them?
Pretty easy for them.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, think about Eastern cultures. It's like they're not so worried about like the individual experience.
Okay.
They're much more vested in the community
group,
experience.
okay.
And in their head, they're just like, yeah, go to America, go make a bunch of money, and then help us get over there.
Oh, okay.
And then essentially that's what happened.
Okay.
So, but that was always
that
the plan.
makes sense.
So all that to say, like between my mom and dad, they didn't have a lot of good parenting to work from.
Yeah.
Right? Like my mom's parents got divorced and remarried. There's a lot of problems in that household. My dad had a lot of problems. Like his dad was always gone traveling, and so all that to say, they had no rule book. They weren't reading
Yeah.
books on how to be parents. They just put me in a lot of shit.
That's good.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I also didn't have like the agency necessarily to choose what fit me the best until I got kind of closer to late middle school and high school, where I was like, oh, I kind of like performing. I like being a goofball on stage. I like being part of the backstage production piece.
Oh, yeah.
I like that whole piece. And then it all got fucked up when I moved here because I was like playing violin. Again, I was doing all this musical stuff. I was doing theater. I was like really active in sports, all
Yeah.
this stuff. And then I moved
And you get here and you like stopped.
and I stopped because we both were broke, so I couldn't take piano lessons anymore.
Yeah.
There wasn't an orchestra at my high school.
Oh yeah.
All this other stuff. And I did some theater stuff. I ended up making friends, and I made the best that I could out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, speaking to the confidence versus not confidence thing, like no. That's a whole other can of worms to unpack. Because talking specifically about art versus career versus like identity, I think you guys talk about like confidence issues being like, I don't have work coming in, or the work that I'm doing isn't good enough, or I'm coming across really shitty to people. Whatever the thing is, like there's an element of self-understanding.
Yeah.
There's an element of actual, experience, like what actually happened
Yeah.
during the thing. And I'm going to make a gander here and assume that most of your experience has been largely positive, not just neutral, and yet you still somehow find ways to be negative.
Oh, totally.
Why?
I think so. The other part of my family story is that my dad had MS, so he was diagnosed before I was born and had the fast progressing kind. So he was basically in a nursing home for my whole entire, like, I don't even know what his voice sounded like. And so I don't think I didn't have any balance with the parenting. I got all the negative, you're
From
going to
mom.
die. Right. And I didn't have any, him going, don't listen to your mom. She's a little cuckoo. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have that at all.
Was that his attitude too?
I don't know.
Oh, I see.
I didn't know him. I didn't know him at all. Like, he couldn't talk. He couldn't eat. Nothing. He was in a nursing home, no muscles. Like,
Wow.
for like 19 years. And then he died when I was 16. So, yeah, I think I literally just sucked in all of her negative. Plus, and looking back, she was going through hell.
Of course.
Love
Love of her life is just perpetually bedridden and sick and gonna die.
and she's got 2 kids. So it happened before I was born. My brother's 5 years older. So, we were babies, and she had to push him around in a wheelchair, and like he was already not super mobile. And also I think, she had dreams of what she wanted her life to be.
Right.
And that was all just wiped out. So she was bitter, very bitter. So yeah, I think that's a lot of it is just I didn't have any balance.
Yeah.
So, and I've always looked for like that fatherly approval from people. Like
Right.
I need somebody externally who I respect saying, you're good at this. You can do this. Because, and I think the only reason I went to LA was because I had a professor in college who was like, you're talented. I'm gonna help you. I want you to come out to LA, stay in our apartment. He and his wife were gone to like Prague for the summer, gave me a bunch of contacts and whatever and let me stay. So like, if I had that, I feel, it's kind of like the Pisces thing, right? Like,
I don't know.
well, I blame it on I blame all of it on,
Yeah.
if I had a dad, I would have been totally different.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're kind of proving this idea that, like, we do need dads. Because the
Yeah.
endless joke is that fuck dads.
Oh,
Who needs
hell
him?
no.
But we need him.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean,
And maybe
even
for-
if not a dad, but some kind of pairing that's a balance, not like, you get one perspective from one parent that is
Right.
like all messed up because they are freaked out about life and like my mom's sister died when she was 6, so she had all that in there.
Right.
I just didn't have anything else, to like pull me out of that.
I almost wonder if that actually has more to do with the fact that there is a symbiotic relationship between male and female minds. Right? Like,
Yeah.
that to me, I think almost is more... That's more relevant than necessarily like a father figure.
Yeah.
And I mean that only because like I love my dad. It's one of those things where, I don't know that I gained a lot of wisdom or knowledge from him. But I do feel in some ways like the things that my mom provided for me at an early age and even to this day are integral to my experience. Whether it's just
Yeah.
her calm demeanor or whatever the case is, but it's almost like, is it because it's the opposite sex? So, and that's, again,
That's true.
we think differently, right? You are hardwired differently than I am. And,
Yes.
and that symbiotic relationship, it does kind of conclude to a lot of really interesting ideas,
Sorry.
but also tends to make sense
Yeah.
when we allow it to. When it's same sex, there's a lot of like, well, that makes sense. I already knew that.
Right.
You
right.
kind of already...
Well, and I think too, and I don't know. I mean, this is probably just a little bit too, I don't know, cliche or whatever. But like, I think my mom was raising me to be a little her.
Yes. And you don't want that.
I mean, I didn't. Looking back at all my pictures, I'm like my cute little. I grew up in the South, so I'm like got my little collar on, my little bows in my hair and
Right.
whatever. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't until I moved to Los Angeles that I was like, oh, I can dress however I want. And that's like a little girl. So yeah, I think you kind of just, I don't know, it almost feels like you're groomed,
Yes.
right?
And it's, I think, by and large, subconscious on the parents' part.
Yeah.
But I also...
Oh, I do too.
I
do
think
too.
also there's a lot to be said about so many parents, especially when just in the act of having a kid, you sacrifice so much
Oh,
of your
God,
life. And so in your head, you're like, well,
I didn't
maybe
get to
my
do it.
kid can do what I didn't get to do.
Totally.
You know, maybe, and if I can help them realize that, then oh my God, the amazing things that they can do when really they're projecting their own individual, like ideas into somebody else.
Yep.
And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that,
No.
that it happens naturally, but there is something wrong with the fact that it is never addressed.
Right.
And it's never rectified, right? I mean, even to this day, if I were trying to bring that up with my father, it would just be an explosion of a conversation.
Yeah.
Because of course not. Of course I would never. I support you in everything you do. And it's like, no, I'm not saying you don't do that, but they are two different conversations.
Yeah.
Like what you expected out of me and the things that you told me, whether you were, aware of it or not, shaped what.
What do you think he expected?
Oh,
Or, like, what do
God.
you
I
want
mean,
you to
my
be?
parents were like, go be an engineer. You're going to make so much money and be so useful in the world. Or, and it was crazy because they literally put me in music lessons from the age of 6.
Yeah.
And,
And
they
they're
were
like,
just,
go
and they
be
were
a-
like, yeah, fuck music. You don't need that. Super wild to me. They wouldn't let me even go to concerts unless they were there. And I had to wait till I was like 16 or 17 to go.
What?
Like wild, weird, fucking conservative-minded shit.
Wow.
Super weird.
So they put you in all that music and piano and stuff, but they were
And then they were just like,
"Be an
yeah,
engineer."
whatever. That was just for you. That's
be
for
a
you to be
doctor.
smarter. Fucking weird.
Wow.
Super weird. That was an element of it. I think that there was also an element of, you know what? That was probably the biggest thing for me. And then once I got to engineering school and started
Oh, you
failing
did it?
everything, I absolutely got in. Yeah, I had great ACT and SAT scores and stuff. I mean, I'm not stupid.
Of course,
But it was
you
just
did
I
what
just
they
didn't
kind of
care.
wanted.
I just
Yeah.
didn't care. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I mean, I don't know. It seems fine.
Yeah.
I'm thinking if college is anything like high school, I'm fucking good.
Yeah.
I was getting A's sleeping in class.
Right.
I didn't care.
Right.
Are we gonna die?
No,
we're
it was a
good.
B.
So yeah, and then it was like once I started flunking most things and didn't care and whatever, and then it was interesting because it was like 2 years in, a year and a half into college, and they just kind of were like, man, this kid's a fucking failure. This kid sucks. What do we do wrong? Like in their head, like, what do we do wrong? And I was like, maybe I don't want to be you, or maybe I don't want to like just go take like the obvious route of like how to make money and keep making money
Right.
coming in. And then I would go to these like, these conferences or whatever, and I would meet engineers, and I go, so what do you do during the day? And they were like, oh, a lot of crunching numbers, and I'm like,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
I think I'd rather kill myself.
Yeah.
So
So did you? What was your degree? What did you get a degree in?
I did engineering. I did aeronautical engineering for 2 years, and then I went to Appalachian State, and I got a degree in music production, basically.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wait, so did you transfer?
Yeah, I transferred halfway through.
Okay,
Or I guess like 2
did
years
too.
in.
I transferred.
From what was your?
Well, I went to UGA, my first 2 years.
Right.
And I was studying mass comm, but like from the time that I was a teenager, probably 17, 18,
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wanted to be a cinematographer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Cuz like I had been an extra in some movies, but my high school was downtown in Savannah, and like we had free periods, and when they were shooting films, I would just go sit and watch, and I was just utterly fascinated.
Blown away.
Yes, with the camera and the cinematographer. So I knew early on, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was any good at it, but I did always have a camera and was just kind of fascinated with the technology and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I did music.
It's funny. So, well, I transferred from Georgia because it was journalism. It was like journalism and mass comm.
Oh.
And I took my first few classes and I was like, what was it? Something law. I was like, this is just not it.
You don't care. Yeah.
I don't know. Because I wanted to do narrative filmmaking.
Sit behind a camera.
Yeah.
Like
fiction.
storyboard.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a script and you plan it out and you light it. And UNC actually had a good little film department back then.
Huh.
Yeah.
I know Wilmington has a pretty decent film department. UNCW.
Yes, yeah. I have
and
a
they
friend
have a
who
big
teaches
studio.
there.
They have a lot of studios there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was such a good experience. And to this day, I'm still, in touch with the people. We're all kind of proud because we were the second to last class to graduate
Rad.
with that degree.
That's super cool.
Yeah. And I mean, I had amazing faculty. My professors, my 2 cinematography professors, they were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did a lot of stuff in LA that I never should have survived.
Really? Mm-hmm. What do you mean never should have survived?
Like stupid shit.
I don't know. I'm asking.
You don't know. Okay. So, at least back then, and it's probably still now, you go out there, you got no money, you have whatever, all your ambitions. There's a million other people out there doing the same thing who are just like you.
Right.
So you basically go out and
Take what you can.
yes.
Yes.
There's no book, there's no governing body that you go to and say, I would like to do this, and they go, okay, well,
I want this job.
Right.
Help me find this job.
no.
Right.
So you basically, back then there were ads, there were
Right.
newspapers and stuff that you would look in. So I ended up doing a couple of student films, AFI and USC, and those kids, first of all, some of them were some rich kids. Like one of them, I think her dad was the CEO of Mattel or something.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So I never got to read the whole script, but I was second AC, and we shot in a pet store in the middle of August in the valley where it was really hot. Mm-hmm. And it was about 2 dogs getting married. Kid you not. And what I heard was, because we had to turn the air off every day to record,
Sure.
is that all the animals died. And I just remember at one point I ended up having to carry one of the dogs down the aisle or whatever in its little tuxedo. It was farting the whole time. And it all turned out to be great because that's where I met my roommate and very good friend on that shoot. She was script supervisor.
Okay. So you mean survive as in stuck with it kind of thing?
Survive as in you do
Whatever is available.
whatever anybody tells you to do.
Because you need money and you need clout.
Well, you didn't even get money for this. This was credit and experience. The other one I did was an AFI shoot that was a Spider-Man takeoff.
Okay.
But we were shooting all night. And this is a bunch of, think about it. We're it was probably grad students, but at 20s, right?
Your
22,
children.
23,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have all of this expensive equipment and basically can do whatever the hell you want. There's no...
Who was giving you the equipment?
Well, they got it from the school.
Oh, from the college. Right,
There's
right.
there's no adult with you. It's just...
Good luck. Don't break it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We shot in... And I was living in Long Beach at the time, which is, I don't know, a good 40 minutes to an hour south of LA.
Sure.
So I would drive up, and we were shooting downtown LA in an abandoned building at night.
Cool. I should love that, actually.
We have to walk up 15 flights of stairs because we're shooting on the roof.
Right.
And you're walking up, and there's homeless people everywhere. It's very creepy and scary.
Yep.
And I remember I was looking for a bathroom, and one of the apartments had a coroner's quarantine sign on it. And I'm just you just, whatever, head down, keep going. No washing your hands, no hand sanitizer, no nothing. And then we get up to the top, and the girl who was running camera, they had gotten all this equipment and I don't know what they had, because some kind of a jib arm or something. And they were holding her out over the side of the building. No safety.
Right. No harness, no nothing. Right.
We're like, what a cool shot that'll be.
And it
when
probably
she's
was pretty
dead.
cool. Yeah.
As she falls to her death. Yeah, and then somebody broke into the truck. I can't, like, this stuff you can't even make up. Somebody broke into the truck, stole the costume,
Great.
not the equipment, but
Right,
the
the costume.
so we couldn't shoot. It was, and then, like, you know, you're there for whatever 12, 14 hours, and then drive home utterly white. And
Yeah, you're just exhausted.
I don't even know how I got home most times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did a lot of that stuff. I worked on a nice little softcore in a Catholic high school, and I knew the guy who let us in was the cousin. This was just so random, but he was the cousin of a guy I had met, like a nice guy, and I was like, "Do you know what's going on in here?
Right.
You're letting us into this high school." They had no idea. But yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Well, I think you can never underestimate the ignorance of really any individual. People love to not know things.
Totally.
People love to not be bothered by knowing things.
Yeah, but the whole thing about LA like Hollywood, and that I still, it is amazingly awesome and
Sure.
utterly terrifying, is that there's no, I mean, like the Rust shooting on indie films and stuff like that, there are, you know, guidelines or what people should.
It's lawless country.
Lawless.
It is literally the
You
Wild
do
West.
what you have to do to get that shot.
Right.
I remember, like, people sending me up trees to, like, you know, do the little rain thing or
Right.
drop something at the right time,
Right.
and climbing up on roofs, and, you know, like, you just do whatever you have to do, which, you know, is at the same time utterly exhilarating.
Yes, it is. Well, it's such
And
an
terrifying.
agency of reality.
Yeah.
Which is that, like, you have to get a shot, you have to do some technical thing to get someone to look a certain way. It doesn't matter how safe it is.
Oh, no.
And no one's telling you that it's okay or isn't okay, which is a beautiful thing. I mean, especially nowadays with
is.
how much regulation goes into everything. Like, actors can only be on set for X number of hours, and they can only be filming for so many hours,
Yeah.
and it's so many things. Yeah, and that is, I mean, I think that a lot of what inspires people to creative endeavor like this is their ability to feel agency in, like, oh, we're all on the same page?
Yes.
We're all just gonna make something and hope it turns out
my
okay.
God.
That's a really, I had that experience in Boston a lot during the pandemic, which is when I got into video, because it was
Oh.
like, yeah, weirdly enough,
That was when you.
that was when I got into it. Because up to that point, I was an audio guy.
So wait, when you say audio guy, like, what were you doing?
Live events.
Okay, so like running mixers and stuff.
I was running front of house. I was monitor mixers. I was doing studio recordings. I was doing all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Did some consulting, some mastering.
I don't know why, but I thought, like, you had been.
No, I got into video in the pandemic, and I just, like, picked it up very quickly
How
because
did you get it during the pandemic? When
Dude,
everything shut down.
I had the right friends, in the right places. I
What
can't.
were they doing? Like,
Well. So the company that I ended up working for most of the time basically was a workforce development company, like nonprofit. And at first it was very slow
what was
moving.
it called?
It was called the Loop Lab,
Okay.
based in Cambridge. But the thing that happened there was basically my colleague at the time who was running, he was the program manager of the entire thing, a wealth of knowledge, a history of tour management and everything else in between. He was like, hey, do you want to just, like, go and run the city for a couple years? Because everyone's clamoring for video production and no one can provide it.
Oh, wow.
Very weird. Very weird. Because you'd think, like, there's plenty of people that are doing video.
Yeah.
There weren't.
Why?
Because apparently in the arts world, it was a mixture of, like, they didn't have the budget for corporate entities to produce stuff, but also because of how much of a shock it was to the corporate world, they couldn't scramble to create solutions quickly enough.
Wow.
So-
okay. Well,
so
that kind of makes sense. I
It
see
does,
that. I
yeah.
see that.
And I'm sure that there's big pockets of the industry we never saw. But the idea was that he would bid, essentially, he had friends all over the nonprofit and the arts world in Boston, and he would just bid for, like, hey, we can totally broadcast your thing from the studio, but I have a friend that owns a studio, yada yada. Or like we can totally do a video of this and we can produce it. And so like a couple of the bigger projects that I did were things around like stage plays that were planned, you know, a year out.
Oh.
And they were like, well, can we film it?
Yeah.
And so we would work in this really kind of sterilized environment. Everyone's getting tested every 2 days. We're all wearing masks all day. And like there's a lot of structure around our itineraries. But really it came down to things need to get made. We need an editor to just do all of it. And so they were happy to pay me $30 an hour at like a tax-free rate as a freelancer. I produced, I couldn't tell you how many movies I produced.
So like, what were you doing? I know you were editing it.
So I edited, I did post, I was a gimbal operator, I was typically a camera operator, I was sometimes an associate producer. I was directing lighting and audio often, like telling them what I wanted.
Everything.
I really was, yeah, because there weren't that many of us. And because I knew audio, and I was doing like quick pop-ups for like a script read or like a prompter read for like an opening and a close.
Yeah.
And then I would be turning around 10 minutes later and doing the actual performance that was all being live streamed and recorded and then given edits so they could put it on a VOD later and so on and so forth. So, I mean, I honestly could not tell you how many videos I made or how many broadcasts I don't remember. But I got really, really into it.
So that's how you just kind of fell into it.
Dude.
Like editing and everything?
Yeah, everything. Everything is self-taught. No college background, nothing. They didn't really, and honestly, like, I'll be honest with you, audio fucking bores me. It's so goddamn boring.
It is, but it's also so
It's integral.
important.
It's integral,
Yeah,
but it's boring.
It terrifies
and it pays shit.
It does it.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it pays shit. I ran audio at the news station, and I was getting paid $8 an hour.
Yeah, people are like, well, if it doesn't sound good, I'm not going to watch it, but like they won't pay for it.
Right.
Which is
that's a lot of the arts.
More of a symptom of the arts structure of budgeting. But I was, the whole problem I had with it too was like, I almost wasn't satiated enough, like mentally or creatively.
Yeah.
Visual and audio components to me was like, oh my god, this makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
So it ended up being a really great fit for me. I had no idea that I was into it as much as I was.
Wow.
And I was a big photographer. Like growing up, I had cameras and I took photos. I loved doing it. I made some
video. You didn't.
I took some. I made some videos growing up, like some goofy shit, just goofing off. I had a great time with it. But yeah, it wasn't like a.
Study it.
No, I didn't think to. Again, I think part of this is like my parents were like, "Oh, you do creative things as a means to develop your mind outside of your career."
Right.
And obviously now I'm like, no, it's part of my life.
Yeah.
Like art is my life.
It is my career.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Which is why it's weird that I had this corporate job.
I know.
But
It's
oh my god, it's so chill.
Take it.
And they pay so well. And as long as they don't fire me, I'm not stressing about stuff. I can do stuff like this.
Yeah.
I can go do whatever the fuck I want to.
Yeah. The corporate job I had was great because I met a lot of amazing people we've all kind of stuck together.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my god, it was working 60 hours a week and flying.
Yeah, I'm
all
not
the
doing
time
that.
And just kind of insane. Paid very well.
Right.
But yeah, I 2018 I just boop, burned out.
Yeah. And then you just went back to
Freelance.
not do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Also,
nice.
I was taking care of my mom because she was older.
Mm-hmm.
I am bad about. I think I project on people that they know they're doing whatever it is they're doing just to annoy me.
Yeah.
Do you do
no,
that?
they're dumb.
But
People
I don't
are
think
dumb.
because I think I do the same thing.
They're dumb. No.
And I don't know it.
Not like they're intelligent, like
No,
deficient,
but
but
I should not have been mad that this person was walking up with their dog and they didn't know there was a bunny there.
yeah,
but I was
you
like,
but you can't change your experience.
I know, but I think it's a little weird. Like I get mad at people for just existing.
All right. So I actually there's a really great book you should totally read.
Okay.
If you're into nonfiction, critical analysis kind of things.
Yes. I have a master's in sociology.
No, oh my god, you probably know the book then. It's called Homo Deus
I don't think so.
by Yuval Noah Harari. I want to say he's a Harvard professor.
I haven't heard of it, but I was big into like social
Have
theory.
you heard of Sapiens?
Yes.
Yeah, so the
Yes.
same guy, same
Okay.
writer.
Say that again.
Homo Deus.
Oh, okay.
Incredible book. One of my
Ah.
favorite elements of the book,
Uh-huh.
one of my favorite aspects of the book is he talks about, well, he breaks down a lot of the changes in human, like the way that we value the human experience over the last few millennia. So for a long time it was religion, right? Religion was sort of like us supplanting this God complex and saying, nope, there's God up there. We are subservient to this God up there. We should not be envious of anything.
Right.
And so on. And then over time, I'm sure there's other things that I'm forgetting about, but humanism was the big one for the last 100 years, right? Humanism stating essentially that the human experience is the most important aspect of life, and that we should therefore base most of our political decisions, our cultural decisions on the human experience. And he kind of talks about why it's problematic and why we're learning that it's problematic. That humanism doesn't always work. Kind of in the same way like democracy doesn't work. Like democracy doesn't really work because it assumes people are educated and they're voting in an invested, intentional way. Fuck that.
No.
They're not
Most
doing
people
it.
are not.
No, they're voting because Fox News tells them that Biden's a pedophile. He might be, I don't know. But what he brings up is this idea that the individual experience then extrapolates into a larger communal experience that we can then, dictate what do we pull from that to make good decisions in the future. He's like, no, we don't actually have an individual experience.
It's like a communal.
No. Rather that even within our own head, we're not an individual.
Oh, no, of course not, because
Which-
we're a little bit of everything that we take in, right?
We are, but we also are, and this is the way he splits it up. We have an experiencing self. We have a narrating self. And so we one of the things I think that is such a draw for us as humans, we love stories.
Oh, yeah.
We love
Yeah,
the
yeah.
telling of stories. We love orators. We love performance.
Which has been huge.
We love the poetic version of real events, right? And so that, of course, it makes sense then that we do that internally, and that's
Yeah.
why we find it so enticing. The study that was done was essentially to show that women during childbirth, when you asked them about their actual pain rating when they had a kid, it was like one of the highest they ever experienced. But then you ask them, like, would you have another baby? Like,
and they're like, oh, yeah.
they're like, absolutely.
Yeah.
And because the elation, the peak point of their emotional state was when they're holding their baby after having
Right.
birth, and they forget about all of the pain
Yeah.
in that moment. But they don't really forget about it.
Right.
It's just that how they talk about the experience.
Well, one thing that blows my mind, I never had kids, but I have I have lots of friends who had kids, but I have one specifically who is terrified of needles, hates pain, has a sleeve tattoo, but was like freaking out about getting it because of all the pain and whatever, but had 2 babies and would happily have more. And I'm like, I will have tattoos all day, but like I can't even fathom the pain
Right.
of having a baby.
No thanks.
No.
Right.
But it's weird, like, cause she would totally have another baby in a heartbeat. Are you leaving?
Bye. I love over here now.
Hi.
But that's so I bring
wild.
I bring that up just because that you're talking about like your experience of XYZ whatever, like those two things are in constant conflict. And if you're not aware of that, you don't then recognize why you're precluded to act a certain way or not a certain way.
Yeah.
So like for example, you talk about like you're from the South, you gotta be nice to people. A lot of that is because even though in the actual experience of dealing with this annoying fucking person, later on you will have narrated to yourself like, well, I was just doing what I was supposed to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. Instead of remembering that like you're going to then narrate whatever you want to say
Oh,
that this
yeah.
was later, even if the experience was bad.
Yeah.
And so if you can see that
Love that
a
shit.
mile or two out, you go, okay, maybe don't be so people pleasing.
Right.
Maybe
right.
don't try so
And
hard
I
to be
have
nice to
gotten
people.
a little bit better about it.
A little bit.
A little.
Not a lot, but
A little, because like this weekend,
Oh, you poor thing.
when I went to the Tony Hawk demo. I'm starving because I had been standing in that one place for
Sure.
like 4 hours or
Sure.
whatever. So I'm walking back and I'm like, I gotta get some food. So I stop in this little restaurant. I'm by myself, and the little owner guy, who is, like my height and my age and whatever, comes over and tells me his whole fucking life story.
Love that for you.
And part of it was, I'm drinking my beer. I'm not gonna fucking chug my beer and but like, what am I supposed to say to him? Dude, no, I don't need to hear about
I think you should just be a bitch sometimes.
I can't.
You should try
I'm not
it.
really
Try it with me
good.
right now.
I'm not really good
Let's role play a little bit. Let's role play. So you're at a bar. You're at a bar. I know. We're gonna try it. Hold on, let me put my glasses on so I'm a different person. Hold on, we're gonna try it. I'm gonna try it out.
This is never gonna work.
Hold on, let me try it. Alright. Am I on camera? Am I on frame?
I think so.
Oh, what's up?
I'm drinking my beer.
What's up, bitch? Damn, you're hot as hell. Let me tell you about what I did yesterday. Hold on.
So this is what
Let me tell you what I did yesterday.
This is what I learned in self-defense.
Okay.
I've learned how to fence. So like,
Okay.
I can make you physically keep your distance.
I'm scared now, but so what do you do? Like,
Well, if you touch me, I will fucking punch you in
Okay,
the
go.
face.
I'm not-
No, but I don't know if I would. But I can't.
Your training is useless.
But
Your training is useless.
because this guy the other night was all like,
He's like touchy-feely and
touching
stuff.
me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't. And showing me his phone and whatever, and like asking me where I was staying, and I'm like,
You're too approachable.
It's my eyes.
Maybe.
It's my.
Just
people-
wear glasses more often.
I know. Where are my glasses?
Honestly, you know what's hilarious is like I feel like I'm one of the most approachable, comfortable people. I can deal with that thing so comfortably, and I can deal with it being like,
What do
"Hey,
you
I'm
say?
really no." I mean, genuinely, it's so easy for me. I'm just like, "Hey, I'm glad you're having a good night. I really just want to be left alone. Like, I'm not in the mood to talk to you right now. It's that simple.
I can't.
Yeah, you can. Try it with me right now. Hey, what's up? I gotta show you my kid on my phone.
Oh, dude.
Let me show you my kid.
No, but so
Let me
here's
show you
the
my
thing.
kid.
Here's the thing.
You're not doing it.
I did. No.
What'd you do?
I don't know. I pushed you away. That should be enough. But that's. I do. Like, I have no in between, really.
You don't know how to do the
I don't
medium
know
thing?
how to kindly say,
Girl.
leave me the fuck alone.
Well, don't say that.
I know, because then I would piss him off. But how do you say it politely? Like, here's what I would do.
So explain what happened to
So
me.
here's what I would
happened to you?
do. So I would do this. I'm like on my phone. I could even have headphones in, and people do this. And I'm like, I am honestly like into my shit when somebody's talking to me.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. But like, I'm into my shit, so leave me alone. You
Okay.
know, whatever. But
And that doesn't work?
No. They'll be like,
They'll be like, hey,
check
pretend-
this out. Look
Yeah,
at this.
yeah,
Look,
yeah.
Here's my wife. And
Here's my wife,
family."
my kids, and my dog, and my pig, and my chickens, and my garden, and my whale. I bought a whale last week. Well, so I think
And then what do you say? What do you say?
I'm not kidding you when I say, especially when you're in an environment in which you know, like, you're good. You're not gonna fucking
Right.
Like, you're good. You either have friends that you're meeting there or
Yeah.
something. And if you're not good, you're somewhere like Virginia Beach or you're by yourself. This works every single time. If you are
I have the
if you are genuinely honest with them and you don't have any vitriol and you say, listen, I appreciate you come talk to me. I really don't want to be.
But these people want to be heard. Like, I feel so.
Well, that's the problem. Is you have to protect your peace, though. You can't keep going through life going, well, but like if I do it nicely, I'm being. Then I'm like not. Then I'm being interface with them where they are. Right. I think it's such an important thing that, and this is something that I think is really difficult for human beings in general because we don't. Again, in America, we don't have a subset of values around what is okay and what isn't okay.
Yeah, unless you live in New York.
Sure, but even in New York, everyone's there all the fucking time. And so you might have a local that's just like, fuck off, leave me alone.
Yeah.
But more often than not, you're dealing with internationals or people that are flying in
True.
or working for it's all over the place. I don't know that there is really a rubric for how to act in this country outside of just being purely honest with no vitriol. And I know that sounds like a lot of work, But in my experience, and this is maybe why I have the confidence that I do, which is that like,
Well, yeah, you do.
I'm imperfect. I'm deeply imperfect. I come across very aggressive and terrible sometimes to people. I have so many aspects of myself that I have no control over. But if people bother me, and this has happened to me so many times, where like I either start dating a girl and then I find out, wow, you're fucking awful. I just break up with him.
Yeah.
Or and that seems like a simple thing, right? Like, of
No,
course you
it
do.
doesn't.
It's
No.
not that simple.
No, because I was in that situation for 3 years.
So
where
when you
I would
oh
break
interesting.
up, feel bad, go
Oh God.
back, break up, feel bad.
So I think that you're misconstruing my confidence for conviction. So my ability to make decisions
Yes, yes,
and then
yes.
stick to
Decisiveness.
them
Yes, I am utterly indecisive.
more, yeah.
That's fair.
And that's not so much confidence to
Yeah.
me. I mean, confidence is like, well, I have this great portfolio of things that I've done well, and therefore.
True.
I don't think that confidence is entirely accurate all the time in that you're always changing. The foundation's always changing. Like, I could tell you, like, yeah, I was a gimbal operator on many amazing productions and the camera work looks fucking great and I'm really proud of all of it.
Yeah.
If I show up to a shoot and I just, like, I'm not there that day and things aren't working well, I don't have a prior relationship with that crew and my camera, my steady cam op shit doesn't look very good, what am I standing on?
Do you feel bad?
No, I don't. Why would you feel bad? You're showing up doing your best. I always feel like I'm showing up to my best. And that means that, like, if I know that I'm hungover that day, for whatever, if I just decided to be fucking hungover that day,
Yeah.
I'm probably not doing my best. If I show up and I'm in a bad fucking mood and I don't work through it before I get there, I'm probably not doing my best. And at that point, it's not a question of, like, confidence or feeling good about myself. It's more like, did I do everything in my power?
Is what it is.
Did I do everything in my power to make things work well? No, that's my fucking fault. And I have to then do better next time. But if I
Do
did,
better next time. See, I always assume there's not gonna be a next time.
well, and that's freelancing.
Yeah,
That's
true.
freelancing.
That's true.
That's and this is the line that we toe. It's very weird. But I guess I mean to say specifically that it's not so much that I'm so
Yeah, no.
it's really more that I'm very self-understanding and very self-accepting. Like
That's so
I'm a
nice.
very imperfect person and sometimes I'm fucking down to just like go out in the parking lot of a bar and mediate these two fucking idiotic
cannot
people.
believe that.
No, I don't care. If there's fucking tobacco flowing and I'm already drunk, then I'll talk to you for 3 hours, bro. You're gonna hate me by the end of this fucking consultation.
What was the outcome?
I don't remember. At some point, I was like,
Were they like, I love you?
I tapped out. Like,
Oh,
I
okay.
tapped out. I was like, hey, y'all fucking... Like, oh, one more thing. I was like, no, y'all are... Like, y'all
This is This is a.
You're actually unintelligent. Like, you're actually dumber than You're dumber than fucking shit. You
this is
can't...
a movie right here.
It's ridiculous. It was literally just like me. I'm drinking, I'm playing pool, and this guy's like hitting on my friends, and I'm like, you're a terrible man, but whatever, man.
Wait, he was hitting on your friend.
He literally just like went up to one of my girlfriends and was just like, damn, girl. And I was like, hey, can you fucking not? And I told him to his face, like, hey, can you fucking not, dude? Like, let's play pool, hit on somebody else. And then I find out 2 hours later
His girlfriend's in
that
the
his
car?
fucking baby mama is sitting in the parking lot for some... Dude, I don't remember most of it. I was drunk. What I'm trying to tell
Oh
you
my God.
is like,
Oh my God.
in those moments, I'm like, fuck it, let's go. If I'm a hedonist, right? Where it's like, if someone's feeding me nicotine or booze or weed pen, fuck it, I'll sit there and I'll write you a symphony, bro. I don't care. But yeah, so I mean, all that to say, it's like those moments where like I'm also very comfortable being like, yep, I've done what I wanted
Bye-bye.
to. I'm out. People hate that about me, by the way. They love
Really?
it. They love it.
Well, yeah.
But they
I am
also hate it.
Incredibly jealous of that. Because a lot of people have this. Well, some people have this. Where you can be direct, but not rude. Like, kind and just, okay, bye. And, like, I don't know. I feel like I either have, and maybe, so take it back to hockey. When I'm out there, I am either, and God, maybe I'm just fucking insane. I don't know. But
You're not.
I'm either out there, like, excited and screaming my head off, or I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. There's no real, I have a hard time in between.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that in general. Like, I'll either be really nice to you. Well, yeah, I will be really nice to you if I don't know you. I mean, I fucking became friends with... So, everybody teases me because everywhere we go, I walk away with a new best friend.
That's amazing. That's
I
a
don't
good
know
thing.
if it is or not.
That's a good thing.
I don't know.
If they're good people, then yes. Are they always good people?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I guess.
You don't keep up with them?
Well, I do, like on Facebook.
Sure.
But like, I became like super best friends with my Uber driver in DC.
Man, I do the same thing.
Okay, so that's not abnormal.
No, it's not abnormal at all.
Okay.
I think people think I'm psychotic for doing it.
Okay.
It's a good thing.
Okay.
It's a good thing. I think that you should. My whole reason for living is find beauty in life, and even if that beauty is
agree.
fleeting, and it's a 20-minute car ride with some person,
I
think that's
agree.
beautiful. I think it's amazing.
Okay, I agree.
But you're talking about a different thing though, which
Yeah, I
is
know.
like you have a difficulty when you're dealing with difficult situations, right? So a lot of
Yes.
our conversations, and this is something that I'm going to ask you about with therapy too, because I'm sure it's come up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our conversations around like how we act are usually revolving around, like when things are going well and they're
Mm-hmm.
normal, they're fine, and how we react to situations. It's not really an indication of your reactionary state. The real indication is when things aren't going well and you want out of it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you've contemplated, like, am I overreacting? I'm not. I want out of this. How do you deal with it then?
That's why I took Krav.
Interesting. And did it help with you?
It helped with my general confidence because I felt like if somebody came up to me at a hotel bar and, you know, starts talking to me or whatever, and I'm like, I can't be rude because this guy's going to follow me to my room and kill me. I was like, I can take him. I at least know what to do. Like, and before that, I never thought about, like growing up, you know, as a Southern girl or whatever, you don't make a lot of noise. You don't scream. In Krav, they're like, you fucking yell your brains out and you scream and whatever. And like, I don't know. I probably would overreact, break his arm, and then have to apologize later because he was in the room next to me or some stupid shit like that.
Right.
But I did feel a little more confident just in general about myself. But I, like, verbally, I don't know. I'm not really good at just shutting people down.
Well, the reason that I bring up that tactic
Yeah.
is because, again, speaking to the fact that we don't have a rubric or cultural standard in this country about how to deal with things, I think that the number of actual psychopaths in the world is very small.
Well, I think there's a lot.
Dude,
I love true crime.
sure.
Don't get me started.
Sure, but understand that's a magnifying glass.
I know, I
That's
think-
people magnifying
Well,
the people that exist that do that.
And I also have already labeled a lot of people, like, in my immediate family as psychopaths. And they're probably...
not.
Yeah, I know.
They're probably just shitty people.
Well, it's not even that they're shitty. They're just, like... I just can imagine.
Emotionally and just not.
You were setting fires.
Oh.
You were setting fires. You may have killed an animal.
And this is coming from a place of like, I do not have research or data to back this up. I
What?
can't possibly know how many psychopaths there are. Oh, sociopaths. Great.
Do you want to hear
That's
about
not
my-
healthy. That's not healthy. You sit around going, there's so many of them.
I am...
And that's why I know Krav Maga. Because I will kill them all
I am
on my
actually
own.
super obsessed with
Okay,
serial killers.
please. And then I'll go on my little serious
my
diatribe.
husband thinks it's weird because, like, my whole nightstand is serial killer books. Like, I've seen every fucking...
Is this preparation for when you finally meet one and you can Krav Maga his ass?
Maybe.
Or is it just because you're just fascinated that they exist in the
It
first
just
place?
fucking blows my mind. It just blows my... So, the one guy that I got obsessed with, his name is Israel Keys.
Okay.
He was flying around the country. Like, I think he had a legit job, but he was flying around the country, and he was burying kill buckets. So he would go to, say, I think he lived in somewhere out west. He would fly to Vermont, and he would bury a kill bucket that had, like, money, you know, knife, rope, all that stuff. And then he would go on a trip at some point, years later, dig that up and go kill somebody that was right there. Like somebody close by.
Just nearby.
Yeah. He wasn't like, he didn't have a type or anything like that, but it was just the thrill of like digging that up and going to the...
Sounds kind of fun. I don't know.
It was crazy.
I might do that.
He had a child too.
If I get bored in my 40s,
I could see that.
oh God.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But your 40s are a little fucked up, I will say.
Yeah.
My 20s were crazy. You're not right yet. So 30s were amazing.
Really.
Amazing. You kind of figure out who you are to some degree. I got divorced. I did a lot of really cool shit.
Cool.
And then 40s is all about, like, taking care of your parents. Sorry.
Nah, let them die.
Do you have siblings?
I have 2.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Where are they? Where are your parents?
They're in Florida,
Lucky. Where? Orlando?
around Orlando.
Do they go to Disney?
Fuck no.
Do they have a little pool under the little shack? The little shed thing?
Lanai.
I so want
They have
that.
a screened-in
That's what
back
I want.
porch.
That's what I want.
They have like a 60-foot double door glass sliding door for the entire of their living room kitchen area. It's actually fucking cool.
I want that.
Their house is cool as shit, but I fucking hate Florida. Fuck Florida.
I know, but God,
I know, but well, you're also fucking 51, dude.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, you live with your
I
life.
can get
At this
away with
point,
so much.
Also, you're a white woman in America. You're fine.
Exactly. I can get away with so much because I'm a little petite white
I need to
woman.
like stay in the South. Just people are like, oh, you're what, Hispanic or Mexican
Oh.
or something? Like, there's a reason you're here. If I don't have
people
that,
ask you that?
dude, people. I mean, no, it's mostly just like they're just like when I was up north, they're like, oh, like where are you from? Are you from Azerbaijan? And I'm like, no, Michigan. They're like, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm like, I'm sorry. Down here, they're just like, yeah, I hate you
back
because
to
you're
your-
brown.
Yes.
But it makes sense that you're here.
You're looking for a brighter future in America.
Good God. I stopped dating white chicks for that reason. I'm over it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm over it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? What do white chicks do?
Nothing. Literally fucking
Same thing?
nothing. Oh my God, they don't do anything at all. They're boring.
Oh.
Like,
That's kind of, I mean, I'm a little hurt. I'm a white chick.
yeah, but you're like, first of all, time displaced.
Time displaced.
Second of all, you're a very unique and amazing
That's
individual.
the funniest shit I think I've ever heard. Time displaced.
You're a very amazing individual.
Maybe you're time displaced.
I probably am, dude. My guess is that I was supposed to be born in like either 2060
Uh-huh. Or like 1950.
or like 1957.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh.
Don't you kind of envy? So I was driving to Virginia Beach
Yeah.
on those back roads, and like I have this fantasy every time I drive by this little farmhouse that's out in the middle of nowhere. I'm like,
Yeah. Man,
God, wouldn't it be cool
I
just
just
to
live here.
like not give a fuck
yeah.
and just all that matters is
You
that
would get bored.
your TV show comes
You
on.
would get bored.
Yeah, I would, but I still think it would be so fun.
It wouldn't be fun at all.
Well, it would be less stressful,
Well, okay, that's different from being fun. though.
right?
That's very different.
Stressless is a good thing.
I'm not sure it would be stressless because at some point,
that's true, you
a
probably
few
don't have
months
any
in,
money.
you go, what do I do with my time?
That's true.
I've already gardened today.
That's
I've
true.
talked to all the trees.
But I guess I would want to occupy their personality, like be a happy little, like just be happy
Just
with
do that now.
whatever. Dude, I can't.
Why not?
I'd freak out.
What do you mean freak out? I mean, saying
I lived in a
I'm not saying
log
move
cabin.
there. I'm saying do that version of it where you live now.
I lived in a log cabin by myself with no heat
For how long?
for like 6 months,
Why?
and I went
Where?
insane.
Why and where?
I went insane. It was north of Hillsboro.
So
and-
you know you don't want to do this.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
What are
wanna
you
do
doing?
it. It just. Sounds,
What are you doing?
It just sounds great.
It sounds nice, even though you know it won't be great. Talk about experiencing versus narrating self. You're sitting here.
Oh, I live in a
You're
fantasy
telling
world.
yourself that it'd be amazing, but your experience has been that it wasn't amazing.
Oh, I live in Fantasyland.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
No, I mean realistically, it is a beautiful because the whole thing is you're actually narrating every like weird iteration of like the hermit in a log cabin
Yes,
vibe.
yes, yes.
You have all these beautiful ideas of it. But really what you get the most out of in expressing that idea is that someone else resonates with it.
Yeah.
It's not so much that we want to go and have a homestead somewhere.
Yeah.
It's that we love the idea of telling people that's my aesthetic. That's what I'm into. I really like quiet. I like being in control of my environment.
Yeah.
I like knowing that I'm not going to be bothered by people. That says more about a person than does, their actual, face value interactions with you.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So, thanks for sharing, but no, you fucking don't.
I also thought I could chop wood. When I lived in that
chopping
log...
wood is great.
Have you chopped wood?
I always chop wood.
Here's my experience. When I lived in the log cabin, I didn't have much money. And I was like, oh, it's a very cheap place to live. It's a wood stove. I can do this. So I bought an axe.
Sure.
Because there's lots of woods.
Yeah. So you cut the woods down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what happens?
But
I took the axe and I went... And I couldn't get it out. So it just stayed
Lived there?
And then I ordered a truckload of fucking wood. I never got that out.
what are you doing? The guy shows up and he just sees the fucking axe in the tree. He's like, yeah, that makes sense.
I get it. This is why we exist.
Oh my god. Last topic
Check
is
it out.
how do you differentiate, if you're, obviously we get along and we're good friends, but how do you then dictate your nicety or whatever to people you don't like?
Oh, I've gotten better. When I turned 50, I was like, I have enough energy for certain people.
Yeah.
So I actually cut out a lot of people. I have a little circle of friends that are all, we're good.
Yeah.
But I don't spend that is one thing I learned. Don't spend my energy on people that want something from me.
Right.
That is more than just friendship, reciprocal, or that are just assholes.
Sure.
Yeah.
What about strangers?
I assume. Well, I don't.
You're working on it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Strangers. Depends on your sob story. This poor little guy in Virginia Beach. He was friends with this. This pro football player who just dissed him when he got big and famous, and then he fucked up and he came crying back to this guy and he was nice to him, and when I was like, oh, that's really nice.
Wow.
Why do I care? I don't know. I don't even know the guy's name.
Well, I think it's actually an amazing thing. You should care. These are human beings that have real human struggles, and then it can be sort of poetic. I don't think it's a bad thing to care about the fact that people deal with things in the world, but
Great.
you're not sitting there fucking crying about every person that dies every fucking second.
It's true.
You're not sitting there going out of your way to feel bad for people that have a crack addiction.
Yeah, I had to stop it with the donating money to people. If
Lordy.
If people on the road, if you're standing on the side of the road and you have 2 arms and 2 legs, I'm not giving you money. If you don't have 2 arms and 2 legs, I might give you money.
And here's some devil's advocate would say to you, you don't know. You cannot possibly know what happened to them, right? I'm sitting in that second. What I'm trying to tell you is you actually have to kind of meddle with the fact that so my ability to not be so influenced by the things that are shitty in people's lives and their worlds and stuff. I've had a lot of friends that I've had to cut out that I'm I know life has been harder for you. I know you don't come from a middle-class family.
Yeah.
I know that you've had struggles. That's not a question in my mind. I know that you deal with, all this stuff.
Yep.
I have to sort of meddle with the fact that there is, whether you want to call it an aspect of being a bad person or being a self-centered person or just being an emotionally detached person. It's not necessarily a good thing considering how society and civilization has evolved and expanded over thousands of years, our original intent was always like, if someone's in need, you incorporate them into your society and your community,
Yes.
and you give them the tools to become beneficial members of the society.
Right.
It's too big now.
Oh yeah.
So you have to kind of accept the fact that there is a shitty, self-centered part of you that goes,
Oh yeah.
no,
I know.
and you have to, that's part
Yeah.
of you.
I've gotten much better over the years.
Good.
I did give some random shuttle driver a $50 bill though.
Oh, dude, I was in Savannah, actually. And Thanksgiving, last Thanksgiving.
Why?
Because I felt like stopping there on the way home.
Oh,
Because-
from
because
Florida. Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
fuck it. But I got there, and we're out till fucking 2 in the morning, and we're dancing, and I was like fucking popping my pussy on the fucking dance floor. Like, we go to the club, and we're dancing, and we're popping our pussies and shit. And then we went and got some Mexican food, and I got so much food, I had no idea. And they're open till 3.
Oh, yeah,
Because
yeah,
Savannah's
yeah.
really good about late night food.
Oh my God.
Amazing, amazing.
Very different
And then
from
we're
Pittsburgh.
going back to our hotel. It's me and my sister over there. And we walk by this group of a bunch of homeless people that are sitting in one of these plazas, a beautiful plaza and the trees and everything. And I have this big old thing of food, and I'm like, I'm going home tomorrow. Like, I'm not gonna fucking eat this in the hotel room.
Oh, okay.
And so I gave them. I was like, hey, are you guys
Yeah.
hungry? They're like, yes. And I was like, cool. Here's a bunch of food. I gave them like 4 tacos and some enchilada and stuff. And then I was like, I had like $30 in my wallet, and I was like, man, I fuck it, dude. I don't need this. Like, here's some money. Like, go like get some medicine, whatever you fucking need, some water. And I was like, can I bum a cigarette? They're like, dude, yes. I was like, yeah.
Bummed a cigarette for
I bummed a fucking Camel Blue from these fucking. I was like, listen, I don't mean to be that guy, but I just gave you a bunch of fucking food and $30 in cash.
Oh my God.
7 of those dollars go to a new pack of cigarettes, and that means that one of those cigarettes costs less than a fucking dollar.
That's mine. Wow.
I'm fine contributing to your shitty experience being homeless. I love doing that shit. Don't get me wrong. I'll do it sober.
Yeah. I know.
But I also understand that like there is a hierarchy within the world,
There's also-
not with valuation,
Right.
but just with like people's places in life.
True. But there's also a finite amount of money. Like, it's helped
Yes.
me because I am married, because I'm like, now that it's not just my money, it's our money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, I can't fucking give away all of our money. That's not fair.
Or at least have a conversation about it with
Because
them.
we're never going to retire. Oh,
None of us will, dude.
I know.
None of us
We're never
will.
going to retire.
There's like 100 people in the whole world that'll retire.
I know.
Maybe 200. All right,
We have to
dude.
find the bathroom.
Fucking,
Okay.
we're done. Good fucking podcast. Good episode 1. Fucking rad.